be 100% honest with you, I am incredibly excited for what Sledgehammer may have on deck for us within Call of Duty World War II come Tuesday. If you guys don't know, last week we ended up getting the blog post on Tuesday instead of the week before on Friday, simply because that was all whenever Black Ops 4 was going down when the whole reveal event was happening. So Sledgehammer made that nice gesture and said, you know what, we'll hold off on our blog. But in that blog, when we finally got it, we got a lot of cool stuff talking about some small features here and there, but there also is the mention of a game update coming Tuesday. Now, we've talked about that a couple of times here up on the channel already, so I don't want to really reiterate much of what we talked about already, but I do want to take a look at something that I am very excited for and some stuff that I hope does make its way in either in this update or in some way, shape, or form very soon. We talked about here on the channel a couple of months back every single unreleased weapon variant within Call of Duty World War II, but if you end up taking a look at that, we still actually have a large portion of those still missing. So today I want to take a look at the 11 best unreleased variants within Call of Duty World War II in the sense of things that we still have yet to see, and hopefully in the hopes of maybe seeing them come on Tuesday. It's been a while since we've had any real weapon refreshes in the terms of new variants. We've seen those in, of course, the daily order rotation that do have theirs updated, but since then, well, I think it's actually since DLC 2 dropped, or right whenever the Blitzkrieg event happened as well, that we last saw a little bit of an update or refresh there. So about a month to a month and a half now at this point since we've seen any loot content thrown into the mix again as new stuff. And some, yes, I think were weapon variants, but again, a lot of these are still having a huge question mark hang above them. So that said, let's just jump right into them. So the first one we're going to talk about, and these are in no particular order, I'm not really ranking these 1 to 11 or anything like that, just listing them off for you guys. The first one that honestly I'm a huge fan of and really want is that of the M1 Independent 2 variant. So this is a heroic M1, or at least was at the time of whenever you could access these via a slight little glitch in the game in which you could go into private match and then a buddy of yours would have to toggle on the esports mode, toggle it off, and then you could see all the variants listed there right in front of you. Now this one was again an American variant. It had a nice little gesture that was a sort of salute gesture along with whenever you inspected the weapon, but the one thing that I'm kind of questionable on is that this might actually now be the M2 variant, because while we haven't seen this in the capacity of the M1 just yet, we have seen an independent epic variant of that, being the Brave M2 epic variant that's available now as a part of that DLC weapon collection. So it might be moved where this Independent 2 might be the Brave 2 for the M2 in a future update, but right now that's something that is still very up in the air, but it's very possible it could come for either the M1 or the M2. Definitely looking forward to whichever one it is though, because it looks absolutely fantastic. The second one up on this list is another M1 variant, that being the Valor 2, and this one has a little bit more of the same vibe of the Independent, in which it has a little bit more of that American style to it, but it does have the branding Skill and Courage with Valor and the American flag and a bald eagle, so there's a really cool little just sleek design on it, but the overall flow of it, a matte black with a gold trim, looks fantastic in my books, and of course, stuff like that that's a little bit more clean, pristine, and sleek, I'm all for it. So this one, maybe a little bit simpler compared to some of the other ones, but I definitely love it. So if it does come, I'll definitely be hunting for it. The next one up on the list is honestly one that I remember essentially being clickbaited by with Sledgehammer games and in Call of Duty World War II, because I got the epic variant so long ago, and honestly I think right after the game launched, and I looked at the preview of the weapon and it looked absolutely awesome, but then whenever you take a look at it, I didn't necessarily realize at first that the epic variants were all the dirtier and grittier versions of it, and so this being the Iron Curtain for the PPSH. The Iron Curtain 2 is what is previewed and it looks absolutely fantastic, but whenever you take a look at it actually in game, it lives up to what I think is just absolute beauty for a weapon variant. So this is one that I hope honestly comes more so than any of the other ones, simply because I would definitely be looking for this one day in and day out, but the Iron Curtain 2 definitely is hands and shoulders above that of the Iron Curtain Epic variants, but that's kind of to be expected when you take a look at the Epics versus the Heroics. Next one up on the list, we've seen, again, the Epic variants already in there, and I actually believe I might have it, but it's one that the Heroic variant, once again, trumps that of whatever you might think of the expectations for that Epic variant. That being the FG42 Kampflugzeug. And by golly, do I think that I probably butchered that still, even after reciting it to myself and the translator for a good minute and a half on loop right before recording that, but regardless, this is one that looks absolutely pristine whenever it is in a heroic form. It's so clean and so sleek looking, but it also has a very awesome animation to add to the mix as well. If you end up inspecting your weapon, instead of just simply bringing up the weapon to view and everything, it actually makes you do a walk the plank sort of animation with your hands where your finger character will jump off the plank and then explode, and as of course you bring your hand up, that's what you end up seeing as well. So this one is just a cool little breakaway from just the traditional weapons in Call of Duty World War II in so many different aspects, not only in the inspect animation, but also it looks beautiful. It's a different color scheme than what we normally see with all the variants, all kinds of stuff like that. So I very much so enjoyed this one as well. But moving over into one that I think is honestly one of the best looking ones, even though it might not have the greatest canvas size for camos, that being the 1911, the American II variant. Now, again, kind of following suit with what we saw with the Independent II, or maybe what may be the, again, Brave M2 epic variants, or maybe Heroic in time, but this one is, again, another American-themed red, white, and blue Star-Spangled Banner type of feel, but it is absolutely fantastic looking. I think that this one might be one of my favorites in games, simply just because of the vibrance with it, how it is something that breaks away from, again, that dirty and gritty feel, and instead is a nice little painted-on version of the American flag. And so I think this one looks absolutely fantastic. And again, I'm not really much of a pistol guy, but I'd love to see this one. And the beautiful part about the 1911 is that if this one was not cut, if this one was not, say, switched out to be a future DLC weapon elsewhere, like maybe we see with the M2, this is something that we might actually get for free because of the daily orders. The 1911 is one of those weapons up on the deck for, of course, that daily weapon order rotation. So maybe in the near future, we end up seeing the 1911, the American II variant given to us for simply pistol kills or tactical knife kills, headshots, whatever it may be with pistols. It'd be awesome to see this one for free. Next up on the list is the WW28 Var Smita 2 Heroic variant. This one, again, is just a very much so more vibrant and colorful variant than that of what we normally see within World War II, and for that, I'm automatically drawn to it. I absolutely love the more colorful ones, and though it's not something that is like neon green, it is nice that it utilizes the lighter gray, the yellow, the orange, that kind of stuff. To me, that is absolutely massive and something that goes so far in the weapon design category that it just stands out to me in that sense. But while I'm not a huge WW28 user, I will definitely use this. And again, the really cool part with this is it has another very unique animation tethered to it as well. If you end up inspecting it, you'll end up taking your hand and trying to touch the barrel. Well, that doesn't really work out, and it plays a little burned animation like you burned your hand. So again, this one very cool in that situation, in that sense. Definitely looking forward to seeing when this one comes out. The Epic variant is in fact in World War II at the moment, but the Heroic unfortunately is not. The next up on the list is something that again comes back to pistols. I'm not a huge pistol guy. I'll primarily just use my primary and then reload it and kind of take that couple seconds that I need to instead of just swapping to my pistol. Even if I might be in a pinch situation, sometimes I still just gravitate towards that. But the one pistol that I will actually use is the machine pistol, and that's where this one comes into play because we end up seeing the machine pistol Schlange 2 Heroic variant being something that is missing currently from World War II. I actually don't believe that either of the Heroic or the Epic variants are in right now, but this one's got a cool little snake design on it, which again just kind of plays a little away from the standard design of weapon camos that we've seen thus far and variants that we've seen in the game as well. We end up seeing a lot of blacks and golds and stuff like that, with a gold trim rather, but something that is blue and has a sort of snake design, that's a breakaway from the traditional mold, and I really enjoy the look of that one. Following suit, we have the M1A1 Lil Biscuit 2. The Epic version of this is already in the game, but as of course compared to the Heroic, it looks nowhere near as good. The Epic variant is very dirty, very muddy, very gritty, all that kind of stuff, but the Lil Biscuit 2 Heroic, it looks fantastic, it looks pristine, and of course is one that I would definitely love to have in my armory and repertoire of weapons. But this one is of course following the same design pattern, which I do actually like that it still is a little bit apparent on the Epic variants as well, but it's definitely apparent on the Heroic, that being the combination of the yellow, white, and black as well. It's just a standout looking design to it. So that's it, I'm really looking forward to that one. The next one though after that is actually one that we don't have access to and didn't at the time of actually doing this as well, because for whatever reason there are about maybe 3 weapons or so that did not allow for specific variants to be wielded and actually taken a look at in the firing range, but this one is one of those ones, that being the MG15 Divebomb 2. Now this one having a sort of shark design to the nose of the weapon, I think that's a very cool breakaway and kind of playing into the more animalistic style of design like we saw with that machine pistol variant that we just checked out. Of course, this one is a lot more bulkier because it is the MG15. It does have that larger nose design, but whenever you take a look at it, of course, it still looks absolutely fantastic. After that one though, we get into our penultimate variant that we're to be taking a look at, this one being the M30 Luftwaffe Drilling Cruiser 2 variant. Now this one is just more so colorful, more so fun, doesn't really have any real gritty design or pattern about it. And while I don't use the M30, this is one that I would actually go for, and one we might actually see once again for free because the M30 is on that rotation of weapons that we can end up getting things for free out of daily orders. We ended up seeing, I think it was the Door Kicker, that was one that was a heroic variant given for the M30 as well. That one looked fantastic also, but this one I think might have a slight leg up on it, or might be relatively in line. But the final one that we're going to be talking about today is actually one that I probably would never use, but I really do enjoy the design of it, that being the Vulcan II bazooka variant. This one again having a more so design on the barrel of the weapon, whether it be a shark or dragon or whatever you distinguish out of it, the animation is what really gets me here for this one, because you end up going to inspect your weapon, but then instead you're greeted with your character mimicking that of a sort of dragon breath type of feel with the hand. So that's something that again is just kind of comical and a little bit thrown in the mix for everything, but I really did enjoy this one. And again, out of all the offerings for that of the different bazookas, right now there really aren't that many, so I figured, you know what, it's a good spot to put this one in. So that said, that's gonna wrap up though this video here at this one. Let me know your thoughts down there in the comment section down below. Is there any out of these you are very much so looking forward to coming within World War II, or is there any that you really want to come? Or is there anything that you guys want out of these that you may have seen in terms of weapon variants that you are very much so looking forward to? Let me know your thoughts down there in the comment section down below. There is no right or wrong answer. I wanted to showcase some of these here for you guys because I really do enjoy these designs. Really hoping they come in either the update on Tuesday or an update somewhere in the near future. But that said, hopefully you guys enjoyed, and if you guys did, make sure to drop a like down below. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding Call of Duty World War II, any updates, news, tips, tricks, best class setups, all that good stuff we got you covered here up on the channel. Tuesday is going to be absolutely massive, I have a feeling, so stick it right here up on the channel if you guys are interested in any of that stuff and staying up to date with all of it. So if you guys also want to follow me a little further, Twitter is the best place to do so outside of YouTube. Practically live on Twitter, so if you guys want to strike up a conversation, ask me a question, whatever it may be, that link is down there in the description below. But also, if you want to follow me over on Instagram, trying to get more active over there also, so that link is as well in the description below. But that said, hopefully you guys are having a fantastic day. Thank you all so much for watching. Mine is Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care, and peace.